Hello, friends! Welcome to another episode of Knights of Eveningstar, our Cormyr Kingdom Management campaign here on Wizards D&D. I am your Dungeon Master, Mark SherlockHulmes, Dungeon Master of High Rollers. You may also know me as Kalliana on Critical Role. And I am joined by four fabulous, fantastic friends. It's not Friday, Tuesday. I have with me Mica Burton, Anna Prosser, Nate Sharp, and ShadyPenguinn. I never used his real name. It's just ShadyPenguinn to me. Welcome, friends. How are you all on this fine week? Are we all well?
I'm having a bit of an identity crisis, but I'm doing well, I guess.
Why are you having an identity crisis, ShadyPenguinn?
Because I'm just a penguin to you, man. I thought we crossed that bridge.
That's like your whole handle. That's the name.
It's
like,
do
you prefer
handle.
Jonathan? I can say Jonathan. But...
No, don't say that. Sounds gross. I just want to know that somewhere.
Gross.
I just want to know that somewhere inside I am Jonathan to you, but
you are inside.
All right, that's fine.
Inside.
That's perfect.
I promise.
What am I to you?
To me or to Jonathan?
Either one.
Either one. The wonderful Anna, beloved sweet Anna, always.
Dang.
You're a VeggieTales entrepreneur in my mind.
A VeggieTales entrepreneur?
Yeah, it means that someday you will own a business that relates to vegetables, and they may or may not have the ability to speak.
You know, if you like to talk to tomatoes, that's all I'm saying.
If a squash can make you smile.
Right. Exactly. Mika's picking up what
I'm picking up
planting in the garden.
Oh God. Okay, right. Moving very swiftly
Does anyone
on.
watch this show? What are we doing?
I know.
Yeah, I know.
This is a show.
Right, guys, D&D, yeah.
Yeah. No, this is going to be another podcast stream where we just don't talk and don't actually play a game for 20 minutes, and then we might squeeze in some D&D right at the end.
Oh, it's a podcast.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a
Let
podcast,
me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Go on, Nate.
Can I ask you something?
Oh my
Let me
God.
ask
Yeah,
you
you can
something.
ask. Yeah, go on. Yeah, hit me up.
Let me ask you something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Can I?
What a beautiful podcast impression. But we are actually here to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
oh shit.
We are actually going to do that. If you've never joined us before, this whole stream, the concept of it is that these four wonderful players are playing either nobles or very high up advisors who are running a small village in the land of Cormyr, which is set in the Forgotten Realms. It's a little part of the Forgotten Realms that doesn't get explored very much. You're used to Baldur's Gate and Waterdeep and upcoming Icewind Dale, but Cormyr is a little bit further away, and it's a land of knights and mages. It is a kind of much more Arthurian kind of knights, medieval England sort of vibe. And who better to run it than an actual genuine Englishman?
What? That's not a fake accent you've been putting on this entire time?
I know. I could just be generic American dungeon master if you would prefer.
You made me choke.
Yeah, I know. I was very pleased with that.
That was amazing. Generic
Hello,
American
everyone.
Dungeon Master.
Hello, I am here to run Dungeons and Dragons for you.
Is this the movie phone? Do I press 4 if I want to see Spider-Man?
Press 4 if you would like to cast Magic Missile.
I want to file a complaint. I'm in this joke and I don't like it.
Nate, I have had to suffer through a lot of American people doing bad English accents in D&D, so I'm afraid that you are going to have to suffer with me doing some American accents at some point.
That's totally
So
fair, actually.
I think that's fair. I think
Yeah.
that's very fair. Shall I give you a little recap on what happened last time? Does that sound nice? Does that sound good? Excellent. So, our beloved nobles awoke to a brand new day in the fledgling village of Eveningstar, and very big conversations were had over breakfast. Dusk, the party's seneschal, brought several key decisions that needed to be made for the party, as well as some initial funding developments that were based upon. The party had a very big discussion about the values of decorating their keep and themselves in finery and whether that was valuable or not. They also returned a large amount of money to the local populace that had been taken by some bandits. They set aside funds to repair their keep, as well as set up a library and purchase a range of furniture and decorations. Our nobles also decided to head out into the village to meet several of the locals, specifically to resolve an issue with a local bakery and to meet with the inn owner, which has now been ruined. Investigating the bakery, a local argument between two families and their teenage children has ended with the party discovering the identity of a thief a large, vicious Tressym, a flying cat, who has leapt into the air upon its discovery and left the party in a very strange and quite normal situation. Not exactly the high-stakes Dungeons and Dragons, but a matter to be resolved nonetheless.
Please refer to the Tressym by their given name.
What is their given name? This is an
Small
unnamed...
Dave.
Small Dave, I see.
Remember?
Very well. Small Dave the Tressym, the flying cat. So to set the scene, you are all currently in the home of the Short Sheaf family, which is a family of halflings that run wheat farms in the village. And after interrogating young Aaron, a human teenager that belongs to the Baker family, about whether he stole a necklace, you saw leaping from out of a window of one of the side rooms and out into the garden a very large, grey, mangled, dirty, furred Tressym. It looks larger than some of the other breeds you've seen, with a particularly mean, scowling face. And it has leapt up into the air with something shiny caught between its teeth. And it is flying away. There is also the halfling woman, the matriarch of the family, whose name I'm going to look into now. Somewhere. I've got that information written down. Yadri is her name. And she is the one who believes that Aaron had stolen this necklace before you guys arrived. So my question is, my dear players, my dear friends, what would you like to do?
I'm going to run after Small Dave.
Okay.
How far away, Small Dave?
So imagine you guys are in kind of like a kind of Bilbo Baggins Hobbit-sized living room. You've entered through the main door. The Tressym has leapt out the back, and you're looking at it through a window, and it is flying off to the north of the village, basically.
So it's further than 30 feet away.
It is further than 30 feet away, and it's outside of the building as well.
Gotcha.
So you see Agnis runs back out the main door and begins making her way around the building. But what do Marcel, Tarkhal, and Azara do?
I'm going to follow her and preemptively cast Mage Hand and try and, like, claw game at the Tressym.
Sure.
I'm sorry, at
so,
Small
you're
Dave.
kind of preparing that to try and grab Small Dave when you emerge. Okay. What about Marcel and Tarkhal in this?
I think Tarkhal would take off after as well. Pretty much as soon as Agnis, I'd be like, we'll get that, and then he'll just run out.
Okay.
Marcel just kind of watches them go out the door and then turn back into the family and just sit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see there's a small, like, kind of dining table with drinks and breakfast. Aaron, this kind of blonde, sandy, strawberry blonde haired teenager that had taken a bit of a shine to Marcel, kind of looks at Marcel, looks at everyone running out, looks towards the window. Oh, it's probably the cat that took it, isn't it? And then he just sort of like sits down next to Marcel as a lot of panic and furor erupts. The three of you who rush outside, it takes you, rushing to the door, heading out, and then making your way around the building. By the time you do that, you can see that the Tressym has just flown in a direction, heading towards a small area of woodland. It's probably about 150 feet away at this point, as it's just whoosh, rushed as you've been making your way around the building. But you can see clearly where it's flying to. You also notice, Agnis, you were the first one to run out. As you do, Elissa, your half-orc knight bodyguard, kind of immediately snaps to attention, her armor clanking. She's like, "Milady, what's wrong?" And begins chasing after you, drawing her weapon.
I'm like, we can't let him get away. And I don't mention that it's a Tressym.
It's a cat. Yeah. So she just full pelt draws the blade and is like stomping after you, trying to keep pace. Some sort of criminal she's kind of calling out to you as you guys are running.
No, don't spook him. Put your sword away.
She's like begins sheathing it as well, but looks very confused. But yeah, you guys can see the creature because you know what you're looking for. Alyssa doesn't, as it is flying into this wooded area. And yeah, you've got about 150 feet between you.
I want to cast Speak with Animals.
Okay,
and yell,
sure.
"Wait!
Okay.
Small Dave!"
Okay. So you cast
Small
that on
Dave
yourself.
is like, I know that it's a traditional way of greeting this Tressym.
Right. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. You shout out, I mean, you know what? Give me a persuasion check with disadvantage. As
Disadvantage.
This is a very grumpy Tressim. This is a very angry, very tomboy, like tomcat Tressim, basically.
With disadvantage, I
Moldave
only
is
got
not small.
9.
So you kind of shout like, hey, stop. And you're kind of calling out to him. You do see the Tressim kind of cocks its head as it's flying away. These big kind of feathery wings, gray feathery wings flapping around it. And you swear it glares at you. It just is like, and then begins flying away further. Just the light catching whatever is in its mouth. What's everyone else doing?
So it doesn't say how far of the range of the friends spell is, but is it too far to cast friends on?
Let's have a look. Friends. Duration.
It says range area self.
Yeah, because you're casting it on yourself, so you have advantage on charisma checks directed at one creature of your choice that isn't hostile towards you.
But
I mean, that will
but
give
it
you...
can't understand me.
That's the problem. Yeah, it is a Tressim.
Oh, I should have cast Speak with Animals on you.
Did it
I
with
mean,
the...
well, as far as you know, it doesn't understand you. These are sort of, they're beasts, but they are, you know, they're magical beasts. They have wings.
I'll take a chance. It's a cantrip, so I'll cast friends on myself. And as I'm trying to still crane game at it, even though I'm far away, I'm like, excuse me, please land.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I mean, make a persuasion check, but this time you would have advantage because of the friend spell.
God, that's a 2 and a 4. Plus 6 though, so 10 total.
10 total. 10. So you see the cat does sort of like slow its movement. It kind of looks back, sees this swiping draconic claw, and then it just kind of like and continues flying towards the woodland. And you see it as you guys are casting the spell Tarkhal, you're still kind of like chasing after them with it. Alyssa now sees what you're all doing and sort of rolls her eyes and sighs as she realizes that you are chasing after a flying cat, and just begins lightly jogging to keep up, not really putting in too much more effort. But you do see, Tarkhal, that this thing flies into the wood. It's like a small trail, like a woodland area, and it lands and it scatters into the bushes, likely trying to find somewhere to hide. And yeah, anything else? I need to get dice. I just realized.
Mark really thought this was a podcast tonight. He just didn't even bring his dice.
No, I literally, like, they're just behind me, so I always forget to get them. But yeah, because I need to make a check for once.
Do we know about Tressim? Like, are they usually docile? Will they attack when provoked? Like, are
yeah, you vaguely know Tressim are common in Cormyr as like pets and things like that.
Okay.
Docile is a strange word. Like if you raised a Tressim like a house cat, yeah, it'd be docile. It'd be the same. Wild Tressim would be like wild cats. You know, they would protect themselves. They would, you know, probably run away more than try and fight. They're not particularly hardy creatures. I think Azara would know one of the kind of key, there's 2 key benefits that Tressim have. A lot of nobles keep Tressim in Cormyr. One, because they have the ability to detect invisible creatures. They can actually sense invisible creatures around them.
Know that.
The other one is that they can sense whether a substance has poison by tasting it, touching it, or smelling it. So a lot of nobles keep them as, yeah, like a security
That's what I'm
measure,
saying.
basically. Yeah.
I just wanted one because it's a flying cat.
I want one.
This is
But
just
they're actually
bonus.
useful.
Yeah, they're actually useful.
I'm continuing to run after it,
Sure,
and now
yeah,
I'm just
I'm
gonna
assuming
start
you guys are
kitty.
Sure.
That's persuasion with advantage to a cat. You have to admit that.
Well, it is currently dashed into the underbrush, so we'll see if you can find it to try and lure it out when you arrive. I'm assuming, Tarkhal, you are going to continue pursuit, and Azara, you as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we come upon this bush?
You will do. I'm just going to check in. Marcel, you are currently sat down in this, you know, very quaint, very pleasant, homely farmhouse. Aaron sort of like sits down and is kind of looking out the window, watching the 4 of them, I guess, run after this Tressim. Yadri folds her arms. Well, I suppose it could have been that thing stealing my sister's necklace, But are you sure it wasn't this boy? I mean, your Magister didn't seem to be particularly involved in her spell casting or whatever it was.
It's to me.
yeah. She's talking. She's talking at you. Whether Marcel cares, that's up to you.
Marcel's just, if that thing took it, then this was a colossal waste of time.
Well, I suppose for you, no, yes, you're right. It is actually, suppose, quite a colossal waste of time. Would you like some tea, Minister? She just sort of begins making her way towards the kitchen. Yes, I'll bring it out then. Extra sugar that I think you could use it. And then she goes tottering off into the kitchen. Meanwhile, the two teenagers, Yadri's daughter, halfling daughter, and Aaron are just both staring at you in that awkward teenagers who find somebody really cool way, where they're just kind of, they don't want to speak, but they're just like, oh, this guy's so cool.
Marcel's literally like sitting motionless, looking at no one, just like eyes forward and just waiting for whatever nonsense is happening to kind of resolve itself.
Well, speaking of that nonsense, the three of you and Alyssa approach this woodland area, and yeah, you can see that this is, there's scatterings of trees, there's a few bushes and shrubs. It's like a little woodland trail that leads into the hills. And yeah, there's no visible sign of the Tressym, except Agnis. One thing you do notice is that because your passive perception is quite high, right? Like
it is 22.
Holy crap!
Observant
I have a
feat
is for that.
Very, very strong. You notice, kind of stepping in and having spent time amongst nature, whilst the others are kind of looking around. You notice that along the kind of lower branches, almost trying to hide the fact like that it would be able to fly, lower branches of trees, several of them have broken off that indicate the way that the Tressym has passed, and you think that there might be a trail, like you can spot where it's kind of moved through and stuff like that into the woodland, and you can hear that gentle kind of like rustling of dirt and leaves as if something is prowling around in the bushes nearby. Alyssa, go on.
Considering that I know that Azara can maybe grab either the necklace or the Tressym, can I indicate to her where I hear the noise coming from?
You can be like, it's there. Just kind of whispering and pointing. Alyssa, while you're doing that, Alyssa looks at Tarkhal and kind of whispers under her breath, like, why exactly are we chasing after this Tressym, Lord Crownsilver?
We're trying to fix some problems in the town. For some reason, this cat is the source of the ailment.
Very well, very well. She just kind of like nods. You see, as you're trying to move, Alyssa is kind of moving with you, and she's wearing plate armor. She's wearing full plate armor. So I'm going to see how quiet she can be. As she begins moving, you do hear like a kind of large branch under her plated boot, just, and she just looks down and winces, and then stops moving. I think I might be giving the game away, she whispers.
After Agnes points it out where the Tressym might be, I want to cast Minor Illusion to have like the scent of freshly charred fish.
Ooh.
Kind of waft in our direction, but still have the claw ready to go, kind of like positioned above, hoping that the Tressym
I'm also
will...
still doing
as you go, Agnes, you can tell that the bushes where this thing is hiding, it is making its way towards this scent being drawn to it, but it's still very, very cautious. You can see that the noises of Alyssa breaking the branch, the fact that it's being pursued has got it on its edge, and it's being very, very careful in its movements as it slowly makes its way around. You can almost see kind of a faint outline shape of this big gray, shaggy furred cat making its way through the undergrowth. But the smell is definitely luring it.
I'm going to try to flank the Tressym on the other side from Azara with a grapple prepped, just in case.
Give me a stealth check just to see if you can kind of move into position.
I have pass without trace. What does that do?
It is a +10 to stealth checks and hides your tracks. If you would like to cast a 2nd level spell to catch a Tressim, I am all for it.
Let me check my past. My stealth is pretty good. I'm just gonna. You know what I'm gonna do? Here's what I'm gonna do.
Oh no.
I'm gonna cast guidance on myself, and I'm gonna say like, shh. And then I'm gonna be able to add a D4 to my stealth check.
You certainly are. When you cast guidance, there are like verbal and components to guidance. So you kind of have like little incantations that you have to whisper to yourself as you like, and I'm going to be really quiet now. Because there is like a verbal component. But yeah, you cast guidance on yourself. And then give me a stealth check.
Well, I already got a 16 even without the guidance.
Okay.
But I will add the D4 just for fun. That adds a 4.
Okay, 4. So 20 total.
Mm-hmm.
Tarkhal, what's Tarkhal doing?
If I see everyone else making moves, I think Tarkhal's just going to put his hand out to keep Alyssa from moving anymore since she stepped on that branch. I think that was his immediate reaction. Just like,
yeah. Okay. So as you begin making your way, Azara, you've kind of got yourself in position. You can now start to see this shape in the bushes. You're not quite sure its exact location, but you have a vague idea of where it is to try and make a grab. And you can see Agnis has kind of stealthily moved behind it, and you're now on either side of this creature.
I also want to re-up my friends, and I want to kneel down really gently and try and be like, it's okay, we have fish, and see if it'll come closer. Do you have to roll for that?
You would need to roll. When you cast the friends, it would cancel the minor illusion because they're both concentration spells.
Nope, then I won't cast friends. I'll just normal.
Okay.
I'll normal. Has it been longer than a minute?
There is a side effect of friends when it wears off. So,
right.
So as you do this, Agnis, you see you're kind of getting ready to think, and then the shape launches towards Azara. Like quick as spit, almost knowing that you're sensing that you're behind it. It flies forwards up into Azara's face and hair. What's your AC, Azara?
15.
15. You narrowly manage to get your hands up as this cat comes and it flies out, just its face twisted in anger and hatred as it tries to like claw at your hair and things like that. Can you make a strength check for me with Azara?
Check or saving throw? Just check.
So this would just be a check, so just plus your strength modifier.
That's 19 because it's
19.
Yeah.
So you actually managed to get a grip on this thing as it's just like, and it's trying to like claw at your face and it's trying to fly over your head as it does it, but you managed to get your hands on it as it's just hissing and spitting and claws are flying everywhere.
Dude, actually, if a cat had wings and you could hold it like folded up like a chicken, that would be so much safer than with all the claws out and
like
stuff.
A cuckoo.
You know? Yeah, a little cocoon.
But this thing's like, it's like a bat in your face and you're like, ah.
Well, I'm cursing out a storm because I don't know is safe for Twitch. So I'll have the mage hand kind of yoink it by the gruff.
Okay.
And hold it above me. I'm just like like so fucking furious.
As a point, this Tressim, Azara, hates your guts.
And as a point, I hate it back.
Yeah.
So I hope it feels it.
But Agnis, you see this, and Agnis, I think being the druid that you are and being super observant, this thing has not had an easy life. It is covered in scars. It's one of its eyes is completely scarred over. Like it's just had like big scars down its face and it's only got one eye. You can see it's all beaten up. It looks like it's had to live off the land, so it's skinny, but in that muscular way where it's all kind of lean muscle and bones. And it's currently got in its mouth this little like silver charm bracelet, and it is just like kind of kicking around desperately.
I want to try with all of my animal charm to just like, it's okay, sweetie, it's okay, like calm it down. I want to use animal handling.
Sure, go for it. This is what I play D&D for. Spend 40 minutes charming a flying cat.
26.
So I think that like Azara's still got it by the scruff of the neck, and you can see the kind of flight or fight in it, right? This thing is currently in, I am being threatened, I'm gonna fight, and this person's used magic on me and I don't like it. But you also know that this is a smart creature. This isn't just like a beast. This thing, you can see intelligence and cunning like in its eyes. Like this thing, you suspect it's probably as smart as a person. Like this thing has a real sentience about it. And you reach out to it and you know, sensing that there's no threat from you, sensing that it's being caught, you see it kind of like resigns itself, kind of grumbles, but it stops fighting. It kind of lets its limbs go limp and it looks in your direction. And you almost think for a second that it's like looking at you like, not sorry, but it looks guilty in a sense, or like it just wants to be let go. You know, it's just like, I just want to eat. Leave me alone. I just wanted something shiny.
Well, I still have speak with animals, so I'll be like, "Are you okay?"
That's true. Can you? Okay, can they speak back to you with speak with animals?
I think so. Let me double check.
Sure.
Yeah, you gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration, which is 10 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, when you speak to him, it's just. I just wanted to take the shiny thing to my other shiny things. Why have you tell this sorcerer to let me go? I don't like it.
Well, see, but that's not your shiny thing, is it?
They shouldn't leave it. I saw it. They weren't looking after it.
Do you like
It's
shiny
their
things?
fault. I like it's the other people collect things. I want things.
That's totally fair, but see,
They
the
can
thing
give
is
me
that
food if they want it back.
Oh, what kind of food do you like?
Fish, meat. I like fish and meat.
Well, look, we have not only fish and meat, but also lots of shiny things at our keep. And you seem like a smart, capable Tressum. Would you like to come back and check out our keep and maybe even stay there with us forever?
You want to keep me prisoner?
No.
Lots of humans and elves want to keep me prisoner, but I am the king of the wilds here. These are my woods and my fields.
Well, if you're a king, then you should live in the keep, shouldn't you?
You are wise. You are very wise. Elves are wise. You are old, like me.
I bow respectfully.
You know how to speak with me very well. tell your witch to let me down. Tell the witch to put me down.
Azara, it's okay.
To the rest of you, this sounds like shattering like.
Knowing what I know about Tressum, I'm gonna bargain. Lady Crownsilver, I'll put this cat down if he knows of another friend that would like to come back with us as well, possibly live in a library.
Your Highness, King of the Forest. I
am known
colleague.
as One Eye.
What's that?
I am known as One Eye.
King One Eye.
Good.
My colleague.
The witch.
Would like to know if any of your retinue will be joining us.
I understand her. I understand your tongue.
Oh.
I cannot speak it, but I understand what you say.
Oh, well, that's lovely. You heard her then.
I did. I know there are many Tressum who fly these fields and fly these woods. They are weak, soft. The other humans give them sweets and cakes whenever they visit. They do not have to hunt as One Eye has. There are some. There are some. I shall find her the weakest, most pathetic Tressum to serve her. One that shall not rival me for the meats and the fish.
Yes, to be coddled. Yes. Not like you.
Indeed. The one-eyed king knows how it is to survive.
We must return this trinket to the people you took it from, but we have much nicer shiny things at the keep where we're going.
Very well. I will collect my others, though. I have stored several others nearby. You may follow, elf. You have shown respect. You may follow. The other one may follow, the quiet one. The one in the metal, she must stay with the witch.
I'm much obliged. Azara,
Very
he
well.
wants you to stay here while we go see the other shiny things.
Sure. And I'll just wave the dragon claw away.
He looks up at Azara, and Azara, there's a brief flicker where if a cat could make a facial expression, this cat looks so smug at you. It gives you a real like.
And I'll look down at him and be like, and if you want any of the fish from the kitchen, you're gonna have to make nice with me. And then I'll go back at him.
Your witch does not scare me. Her tricks, I have seen many of her tricks before. And he just begins prodding, making his way through the scrubland. Follow me, elf.
Agnes, do you want me to come?
I motion to you. Follow.
Alyssa, stay here with Azara.
Very well, Baron. And Alyssa looks over at Azara and mouths, "What are we doing?"
Very important.
The two of you share a moment.
Yeah, just frustration.
Agnis and Tarkhal, he basically One Eye leads you to a small little nest nestled in a hollowed out, like an old tree stump, and you can see that part of it's been hollowed out. And inside, there's actually kind of a like mixture of like scraps of cloth and things like that. But hidden amongst it, there are actually some various items, not anything of particular like value, but there is a small silver necklace with a holy symbol of Chanti, which is one of the gods of Forgotten Realms. There is an assorted pouches and mills of cooking spices. There is a small leather-bound book, like a little leather book, which has an illustration of a very underdressed man and woman on the front. And then there is a single card from a 3-dragon ante set, which depicts a silver dragon on it. And he's gathered them up and has arranged them like in a neat pile in the center of this nest, basically. Yes, these are my treasures. You may carry them for me. Bring me to my castle.
Thank you, King One Eye. Of course, I gather them up. I won't be able to understand you much longer, so I apologize when I can no longer understand your speech, but I will do my
your
best.
Wisdom is limited, but we will speak again. We will speak again. The necklace, the silver collar, he calls it. He doesn't call it a necklace. He calls it a collar. The silver collar there, I took from the same house as this one. He indicates the charm in his mouth. You may return it to them, but I wish to have food from them. They must pay for it.
I understand.
And he nods. And then he just sort of trails behind you. In fact, he'll probably fly up and land on Agnes's shoulders. And he'll sit on your shoulder. He stinks, Agnes. He stinks so bad. He smells of filth and dirt and just poop and just bad. He stinks really bad. His fur's all matted.
Tries not to breathe. Can't let him know.
Sure. And then I'm assuming you make your way back to the Short Sheaf farmhouse.
Yeah, and once we pass Azara, I'm like, do you know prestidigitation?
I also catch a whiff of it. I'm like, oh, good lord. And I'll cast minor illusion in front of our noses, and it's just like a nice lavender breeze.
Okay, yeah, you Febreze the smell away with illusion magic for temporarily.
Right. Temporarily.
Sure. Yeah,
like,
illusory Febreze. Yeah. And yeah, you guys make your way back. Marcel, you've probably been waiting like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and then they come back with this stinky, mangy cat.
This is King One Eye.
All right.
He looks at you with his one good eye.
And
he's coming to live at the keep.
He spits out the silver charm.
Yeah, I grab the charm bracelet and the necklace and I hand them back to the woman.
The Yadri, the mother, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she kind of takes them. She looks at them in her hand and looks incredibly guilty that she has wasted a lot of your time. She's like, oh, well, that solves that mystery then. I suppose I owe the bakers an apology. I suppose
Marcel's just like dead ass staring at her, like not breaking contact this whole time, no motion.
Yes. Well, I suppose, yes, there's a bit of an apology I owe there, and thank you for returning. The necklace belonged to my sister. It is quite dear to me. I'm afraid I don't really have much to offer you, my lord and lady, apart from my thanks. Perhaps, would you care to take some fresh produce or food with you? I'm quite a chef.
Do you have any fish?
Possibly. I think my husband had some kippers this morning. We may have some left over.
I would love some.
All right. Very well.
Thank you.
Yes. Aaron looks over and sees the Tressim. That's a really ugly cat.
Oh.
He's big, isn't he?
You should be careful. King One Eye may take issue with your evaluation of his appearance.
Okay. Sorry, cat. He just sort of like waves a hand. And then he looks over to the rest of you. He's like, so what are you going to do now? Are you going to go back to Eveningstar? Do you need a hand with anything? Do you need to? I'm really good at talking to people. If you need something.
I just kind of look over to Agnis like, this is your chance to deal with the people.
I look at Tarkhal.
So Aaron looks at like Tarkhal and Marcel. He's like, maybe I could be like a squire or a soldier, and you could teach me how to sword fight, and then I'll fight with you, and I can kill orcs and kill goblins and stuff. That'd be wicked.
Well, Marcel, do you think that Aaron would make a fine first recruit for you?
Yeah.
We set out to resolve this issue. The issue's been resolved. We are no longer in need of your assistance.
Yeah, you don't need it right now, but you might need it in the future, though, won't you?
I thought you wanted to build a band of trainees, Marcel.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's all right. No,
I'll volunteer.
I'll be around the village if you need me. I'm around. It's fine. I don't care. Nah, it's all right.
Aaron, what we need from you and everyone here is to understand that you two families play a very important part in Eveningstar. We can't have the baker and the provider feuding. It doesn't look good for Eveningstar. We're trying to build this town up to be something great. So you, Aaron, to make sure nothing like this happens again, keep your families at peace. Right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, my mum might not listen to me, but I'll tell her. I'll tell her what you've said. Yeah. And I think Miss Yadri, she's understand that she kind of messed up a bit. So yeah, all right, very good, sir. And he kind of salutes, and then he bows, and he kind of knocks his like shin on the table, and he's like, he kind of suppresses a pain, but he seems to have listened.
Awesome. Aaron's the best.
Yeah, with some old kippers for old King One Eye, you can depart in pleasure, knowing that this has been resolved.
I give Tarkhal a motion like, yeah, that was awesome, nice,
good one.
Tarkhal just puffs his chest. Yes.
Out of character, I will let you know that it wasn't a complete waste of time. Now that the bakery and the deli will continue to run, it does generate income. So now that it can be operational again, you will get some income each season from the bakery operating. So not a complete waste of time. Nice. It's only a small business, so it makes about 100 gold per season. So season is about 3 months, but that's generally when you'll get all of your income and taxes and stuff like that will be sorted out. So
does it increase the morale of the town?
It does a little bit, but this is because it's more, it generates income from people coming and going. So it's good for like bringing in a little bit of money. But if it gets developed, it could do over time for sure.
Cool.
What else would you guys like to attend to? I know when you originally guys came to the town, you did want to pop in and speak with the previous owner of the inn, which has been ruined. But you could also just, if there's anything you guys want to do, if there's anything personal you'd like to do.
Yeah, weren't we going to go to the inn first? We got distracted by the bakery.
Yeah.
I think we should drop off King One Eye though before we peruse into Eveningstar and set him up with his section at the keep.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Also, he promised me another cat, so he better get on that.
Yeah, we can take him to his new quarters, and then once he's comfortable, he can go out and find the rest of the recruits for the Tressim squad.
Tressum army.
You hear like a kind of like meow sort of noise.
He agrees.
He seems to be agreeing with you. Yeah, I mean, we'll speed up time. You guys make your way back to the keep. You take King One Eye to the keep itself. Nigel and Audrey, your two kind of housekeepers and servants, are appalled at the state of him. Audrey immediately is like, oh, shall I give him a bath or something? Because there is a slight pong, my lords and ladies. I won't lie.
I'll present it to him like, my liege, you may want a moment to freshen up, as you will be representing your kingdom here at the keep. Would you like our servant to attend to you?
And he jumps off and flies up to the roof of the room and sits on top of a cabinet and just is like,
I did my
back
best.
hunched. That wee bastard. I mean, yes, blessed, sweet little thing he is. Very good, very good. And yeah, the servants just go back to their usual business. But you now have a keep Tressum, and potentially two in time as well.
I want to point out to him like some sort of tower room, you know, like where he could kind of treat it as a rookery, and he'll be kind of like not necessarily in the middle of things stinking up the place.
Yeah, well, there are two guard towers at the front of the keep. Then you have Azara's tower, and in the main bailey. You could give him like one of the kind of like top bits of the main bailey, or one of the guard towers. He could just basically go and make a little nest somewhere in there in the rafters or something.
I ask Azara, because she is the interior designer, where she thinks the Tressum court should go.
How far is, like, which is the furthest tower from
one of the guard
noses?
towers? Yeah, one of the southern guard tower would be, no, the northern guard tower would be the furthest away from Azara's tower. It's the opposite sides. Yeah,
my lady, I think the northern tower would be the best suited place for King One Eye and his fragrant self. He can look out over all of Eveningstar and also stay far away from our noses. While also, you know, maintaining a stalwart watch on whatever. He can just put him over there.
Yes,
like the smell is like getting to my head.
The fine northern tower, of course. There would be nowhere else we would have fit for a king such as King One Eye. And
he kind of glares in your direction, but he eventually begins flying away and just vanishes somewhere into the keep.
After he leaves, I'm like,
yeah.
We have got to find someone who knows prestidigitation. We got to clean that cat.
We have to fix this. We have to fix this.
Perfect. Okay. And so did you guys want to head back into the town? It's probably about like afternoonish by the time you guys make your way back into town. And you can see that, yeah, people are starting to get back into their daily routine. It's only been a few days since you defeated the Thorn Hand, so things are still a little rough. Some of the buildings are, their buildings are going to be being repaired over, considerable time. But people they feel safe. They're getting back to work. They're going back to the farms. And yeah, it's just a pleasant sort of late spring, early summery kind of day. The daylight is long. The temperature is somewhat, pleasant. And people are just about their business. As you make your way in, heading towards the Lonesome Tankard, which was the inn that served Eveningstar before, you see the terrible state that it has been placed in. You can see that a large part of it has been burnt down. You can see blackened wood poking out from broken down stone. You can see much of the roof has been burnt away. The kind of thatched roof has been burnt away. There are just, it doesn't look in a good way at all. And you can hear the sounds of things being cleared out, broom sweeping, broken pottery being picked up and collected coming from inside when you guys approach.
Quick question.
Sure.
Did we already give the go-ahead to have this rebuilt, whether we purchase it or not?
This is an independent building, so this would not be covered by the repairs that you guys paid for, because this is an independently owned place. It's not, you've basically gone, we'll repair the keep and any of the houses that you technically own, like all the farmers and things like that. They live on the Baron and Baroness's land, and so the homes technically belong to them. So you're repairing those. This inn is an independent business, so it has to basically run itself.
Got it.
So it would not be counted in those repairs.
So I guess I would take a moment to like huddle and say, so do we plan to offer to subsidize the repairs in return for a portion of profits, or are we looking to purchase the entire inn?
My lady, I think it depends on how the proprietor of the inn feels about both offers. If they are looking to pack up shop and leave town, the inn is ours. If they are looking to work even harder and possibly turn a profit for us, I think that would be best.
I agree. Tarkhal?
Yeah, that sounds good. Whatever's best for them, honestly, because this place is important to Eveningstar.
Marcel?
It's of little to no consequence to me.
I thought so. All right, let's go in.
Yeah, you guys make your way inside, and inside you can see the windows have been blackened with soot, and what once would have remained of a really lovely, homely bar, like tap room, has basically been turned to black cinders. Scorch marks litter the place, broken tables, broken booths. A pair of stone steps lead up to a second floor where there would have been rooms. All sorts of decorations, old tapestries, collected signs from merchant stores and things like that have been demolished. Decorations that would have once made this place come alive have been ruined. What remains of the bar is little more than a hacked up piece of wooden barricade, broken into many pieces by axes and swords, some of which are still stuck in them. Behind it, you see a half-elven woman, probably in her middle ages. She has long, gingery hair tied into multiple braids that run down. It's very, very long. It runs down her back. She's wearing loose blouse, kind of like, pair of trousers with dishcloth kind of stuck out of the waistband. And you can see that her eyes are red from tears. You can see that her, makeup has long since been faded and smudged. And she's in the process of picking up broken plates and just putting them in a like a crate into like a box to get rid of. She hears you guys enter but doesn't turn around to see you, and you just hear her like, well, listen, y'all, I'm real sorry, but there's just there's nothing left. So if you're here for drinks or anything like that, I'm afraid that you're gonna have to go somewhere else. There's nothing here for anybody anymore.
I look at Tarkhal and I'm like,
Tarkhal's definitely like flustered if they're like super sad, so he kind of motions back to Agnis like, this one sucks. Like, yeah, I don't know.
She gives him that like big sister look, like, and then she goes and kind of like puts a hand on the lady's shoulder and she's like, we don't expect service, we're here to help.
She kind of looks up startled, kind of blinks for a moment. You're the Baron. My apologies, lady. And she kind of stands up and like bows. I'm so sorry. I thought you were just some folks from Eveningstar. I didn't realize it was you. Why are you
Please
here?
don't apologize. We came because we'd been told that you might be in need of some assistance, and we were wondering how we could help with getting the inn back up and running, if that is what you choose.
Oh, my lady, that's so kind of you and the Baron and the Minister. I already received, you gave me back some of the money that was stolen. I received that, and thank you so much. I'm sorry that I couldn't really give any to help the town, but the truth is, my lady, I don't think there's much that anybody can do now. I mean, this place, it's going to take a lot of money to fix up, and well, you need completely fresh stock, bringing that in from a big city. I'd need suppliers from Arabell or something like that to send over. I mean, I've made my peace with it. This place, what little money I've got left, it ain't gonna cover it. So,
well, that's where we want to come in and enter some sort of a partnership, if you will. What kind of resources could we bring that would make you want to start fresh here?
Well, well, my lady, if you're being honest, if you're offering, then, well, it's about, I spoke to that Dusk feller, and he reckons we're looking at around 800 gold just for the repairs. It needs carpentry. It needs fixing all the rooms are ruined. That's new beds, new furnishings. And then all of this needs rebuilding. The windows need replacing. They're cleaned up, everything else. The stonework, I mean, the mason can provide some of that, but and then in terms of stock, I mean, 500 gold would, that's all your ales, your beers, your ciders, and food, supplies, spirits, wines, all of that needs to be brought in from somewhere else. So, yeah, I mean, 1,300 gold. I've got 500 of my savings. That's what y'all gave me back. But the rest of it, the 800. I mean, I haven't got that money. If you were willing to pay that, I mean, I'd give you a higher percentage of the inn's income. I mean, I pay my taxes normally anyway, and Cormier's got a fairly hefty high tax on inns and trading and the like. But I could give you a higher cut. I'd just reduce how much money I take. I'd pay you back. Call it a loan, I guess, until I can pay you back that initial 800. It'll take some time to get the tavern up and running, but. Well, the other thing is, if you know folks in Arabell, if you know anybody who owns taverns or winemakers or brewers up in the city, that'd be a huge help too. That would speed things up considerably. I wouldn't have to get it sent all the way from one of them Sword Coast cities. I could just get it from here in Cormier, but they don't tend to deal with foreigners like myself. So
I look at Azara and I'm like, do you know anyone who could help replenish stock that's nearby? Can you think of anyone?
DM, would I know anybody who could help?
I don't think this would be in Azara's wheelhouse. I mean, you knew the court and you knew war wizardry, but knowing the merchants and the Merchants Guild really wasn't your kind of wheelhouse, I don't think.
Would I know anybody who could connect me to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
For sure. I mean, the court of Arabell, Duchess Celeste Marlier is the Duchess of Arabell. She runs the town and the surrounding areas.
Okay.
She'll have a whole court of nobles, and they will know the right merchants and the people there. So if you can get in with that court and that nobility, they would be not just for this, but for other things as well. They'll be a very good contact to make.
Dope. My lady, I do have a few contacts in mind that may lead to knowing more merchants in this great kingdom of ours, but it will take some time. It may take some schmoozing. I know how you are opposed to that. However, this is in my wheelhouse, and I would be happy to take it upon myself to make the proper connections to help this inn out.
If I might say another thing, I know y'all have... You've taken some of these folks into custody, right? You've taken some of the thugs and the folks who hurt this town.
Mm-hmm.
There's one of them. She was the one who incited all of this. She didn't like me. She didn't like my face. She didn't like my inn. She said some pretty unkind things, and then she was the one who told all of them to burn it. She was the one who told them to set it aflame.
And who was that?
They called her Kiva. I'll never forget her face. She looked me dead in the eyes as her boys and the girls who were serving her were punching me and beating me. And then she took a torch and she lit it, and she took it to my ales and the bar. And that's when it started. She's got scars all over her face. She's got a short cut hair. Yeah. I want to see her. I want to see justice.
I understand.
She ruined everything for me. She needs to pay for what she did.
I am sorry for what she and all those others did to you.
Thank you. I'm mighty kind. I mighty appreciate y'all stopping them folks. I mean, I don't know what we would have done without you. Nobody else sent anybody. There were no soldiers, no purple dragon knights came to our rescue. So if you all and your soldiers hadn't turned up, I mean, this would have happened to everybody here, not just me. So I do appreciate that, but justice needs to be done for sure.
I understand. Well, first things first, we need to get you back on your feet. Baron and Magister and what's Marcel's title again?
Minister.
Just and Marcel.
Yeah. I mean, Marcel works.
Yeah. This plan, the 800 gold. Do we need to discuss it, or do we feel like this is the right move?
Well, she said 800 plus 500.
Well, she has the 500.
She has the 500.
I do, my lady. Yes, I've got that. That's all my savings, but I've got it.
I think possibly if we can reach out to our contacts first to see if some of this can be loaned or gifted, or if an exchange can happen between our kingdom and another before dipping into our newly discovered royal funds. If you wouldn't mind waiting, and I motion to the barkeep for just one simple exchange of letters before we make a final decision. Although I do know that we here would like to help you get back on your feet.
I mean, I'll be honest, Magister, I don't really have much of a choice. It's either wait and see if you will help me or pack everything up and sell it. I guess maybe I can ask somebody around here if I can stay with them for a few days, and I might be able to find work on one of the farms for the time being. So yeah, I can wait a few days for sure. Yeah.
I want to pull Agnis aside. Lady Crownsilver, speaking of a place to stay, since we are no longer in our estate house, maybe allowing her to rest there for a week or so until we receive word from a fellow kingdom could be a sign of friendship and kindness.
That is a fantastic idea. And I turn to her and I say, perhaps if you're looking for a place to stay, our manor in town would be comfortable.
Sorry, what?
You can use my room.
The estate, the mansion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
And if you need, if any of your friends want to come stay with you, if you need some company, I know it can be a big house.
Thank you. But Chanty, bless all of y'all for this. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Just thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm sorry this happened to you, and we'll do everything we can to make it right. That's our job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll do the best. If we can get this place up and running, not just money. A tavern's good for one thing. We can make money, and that comes into the treasury. But, people talk at a tavern. We hear things, gossip, rumors. I'll make sure that comes straight to you, my lady and my lord. I'll make sure that anything I hear here, I'll send words straight to you about anything that comes up. And if there's anything you want to know about, let me know. Because, like I said, people, when they get in the cups, they start yammering. So I'll know a thing or two.
We'd be very grateful. Thank you.
Of course. She just kind of bows and nods her head. Anything from anyone else? Like Marcel, Tarkhal, any questions or anything?
Tarkhal's just been taking notes of how Agnis has handled the situation when someone's sad, redirecting their attention, all that good stuff. But
you noticed that, huh?
yeah, really good stuff. Tarkhal is not ready for that. But I did want to ask: is there a chance that Tarkhal knew of a spirit distiller in the King's Woods that made like a home brew that he could send letter back for?
Oh yeah,
to potentially move in. Some strong spirit.
Yeah, this would be like proper farmer's brew cider. This would be like hard stuff, but it would be good. Like it's the people of the Kingswood. There's not a lot of nobility there. They tend to be quite hard, stoic folk that survive on the land and things like that. But they take a lot of care in the things that they do. So yeah, 100%, you'll be able to find some good brewers if you send word to your dad and stuff like that. You'll definitely be able to hook you up with somebody for that.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else from anybody? No? Okay. Is there anything else you guys would like to do today? I think this wraps up sort of like the couple of things that Dusk mentioned to you. But is there anything you guys would like to do or take care of, or just moments with your characters that you'd like to have?
I'd like to pull Agnis aside outside real quick.
Sure.
if you are amenable to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to kind of sit, if there's like a bench kind of secluded somewhere to kind of feel we have a little privacy.
Yeah, you can definitely find a little bit of privacy. Like just walking a little bit out of the main square, it becomes kind of, big open farmland. There's probably a fence for some farm that you can go and kind of perch on.
My lady, I just wanted to take this opportunity, seeing as it was brought up in the inn, to talk about the state of the prisoners. And I know this is a very hard subject to talk about, but just in my experience in war that I've seen and war that I've participated in, and unfortunately the executions that I have had to commit, I think that this is one of those times where it may not feel good and it may not feel right in the moment, but we need to show this town. For now, I know you want to change your ways and the ways that the crown is looked upon, but for now, while this is still fresh, while the town is still growing, we may need to execute these prisoners because Eveningstar doesn't quite trust us yet. And if we break their trust this early, we may never regain it. We can't teach them new ways if we don't follow the old ones first.
She kind of puts her hand on Azara's knee and she's like, you've been at court a long time. It can be really hard to keep a moral compass when you're surrounded by all those type of people and the death and destruction that comes with selfishness and greed. And I understand why you would feel that way, but we can do better here. I know it. And she just kind of gets up and walks away.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Okay.
Zara just watches Agnis
yeah. Zara just hangs her
I've
head.
been so inspiring.
Zara just hangs her head and knows this is going to be a shit show.
Okay.
I think as they had their powwow, I think Tarkhal was just looking for a bunch of kids to play Stoling with.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Stoling.
It's probably
I forgot
the
about
same.
Stoling.
It's probably the same group of kids that you taught it to, and they've tried to make up a lot of nonsense rules for Stoling that you kind of have to kind of be like, well, let's play it without that rule this time. And they've invented a whole extra set of sticks that if you hit them, it's worth triple points, but only if you bounce it off another stone first, and all of these kind of other additional rules. But it's these kids seem to enjoy the game. There's not much to do out in the country that isn't work, so the idea of playing a game definitely takes off with them. And I think that as you're playing, you do see quite a few of the local yo folk kind of just watching you just kind of very curiously as you very seamlessly blend in with the kids and just sort of playing these silly games and stuff with them. It doesn't go unnoticed. I think Elissa is watching both groups kind of warily as a hawk and is stood sort of with Marcel. And I think she'd probably look at Marcel, and does seem a bit of an odd day wandering around doing all of this sort of stuff. I'm not used to nobles who are so involved with things.
Yes, when I was brought on to be a minister and help aid with combat, I didn't think I'd be an assistant to a bunch of errand boys, but here we are.
Perhaps one thing that you and I can discuss then is matters of military and combat. One thing I've been thinking of for some time, my unit, they're all recruits. They're all the lowest rank of the Dragon Knights that they are. They're all green. We've fought a few battles now with them, and they are gaining experience. But one thing we could use is better equipment. Perhaps that's something you could speak with the Baron and Baroness about. I can requisition some, but a word from nobles will go a long way.
Perhaps.
Why are you here, Minister Marcel, if I may speak perhaps a little freely?
I didn't seek a position of leadership or power or training. I came here because this is where I was told work was. I wasn't aware of the type of work.
Just gold then for you. No cause, no pride to fight for. Just gold.
None of which are any concern of yours.
As I expected, mercenary. And she just folds her big arms and just sort of looks away.
You just
shade in this episode, right?
Yeah. Marcel's definitely not the kind of
Alyssa.
person that Alyssa likes. This is a very proud knight of the purple dragons. This is a person who puts their life on the line for honor and country. And then this guy's just like, just want to make some money. But yeah, so without any other plans for the rest of the day, I'm assuming you guys go back to the keep and retire.
Yeah, I want to nudge Tarkhal as he's done with Stoling and be like, we should suggest that they put a Stoling alley in the inn when we rebuild it.
Oh, that would be great.
It could be the first one, and then, you know, once people are excited about it, maybe a Stoling alley all on its own.
Yeah, that's a great. Oh, we can. When I fetch word from my father, we can maybe name a drink after Stoling, and just kind of, you know, hype the game up a bit.
That could be Eveningstar's thing. We were looking for a thing, you know, to be known for.
We were looking for a thing.
Maybe we are the town where Stoling came from, and maybe we have the Stoling League, and people come from miles around to watch the championships here in Eveningstar.
Yes, this is I was showing the kids a childhood game, but you're taking this to the stars, quite literally.
There's nothing like an opportunity for someone from our town to make a name for themselves, in sport or otherwise.
I'm learning a lot from you, Agnis.
Thanks.
You guys, I don't know if you guys have this in the US, but in English pubs, if you go into a real English country pub, they sometimes have little bowling alleys.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, and it's like a really simplified version, and they normally have a kid. It's normally like the son or the daughter of the owner of the pub, and their job is to sit next to it, and when all the pins get knocked down, they have to reset all the pins themselves.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So that's an actual thing. That's an actual English country thing.
We just have darts here. That's not as fun.
Yeah.
I was thinking of skee ball. Like some bars have a skee ball.
It's kind of like a skee ball. Yeah. That's amazing.
That's awesome. Before the day's over,
sure.
I think as everybody else heads to the keep, Azara just wants to kind of take a walk around town and get to know where everything is. Kind of like check out the textile shops, any of the merchants. You said there's kind of like a bazaar.
There's like, so there is in the town square, they look like they haven't been set up, but it looks like that there are like tents, kind of like, you know, temporary tents where merchants come and sell their goods, like local artisans and things and traders and things like that. Normally in a village like this, there will normally be a specific day, like a market day. Normally it's kind of in the middle of the 10-day weeks in Forgotten Realms are 10 days. They're called 10 days. So normally the middle day, the 5th day is a market day. And that's when everybody comes, everybody gets ready to spend their money. And these tents are kind of set up. There is like a general store which sells like farming equipment, some basic adventuring gear like ropes and ladders and things like that. Things like clothes are sold by the general store, and it's like pants, shirt, dress. It's nothing fancy. Anything like that you would need to go to Arabell, which is the big city about a day's travel away. It's a very simple village. You know, there's the rundown tavern, there's the little bakery shop, there's the estate, and then this little general store, and then that's really it for the town center. And then it's all lots of farmhouses and sort of things, but there's a lot of land here. There's also
continue.
I was going to say, being magical in the way that you are and your lineage and things like that, there's a lot of just magic here. You can just feel it in the same way that like cities become so clouded with people and mages that you can kind of feel it. Here, the people don't resonate with a lot of magic, but the land does. This is a place where Cormyr itself, you suspect that probably has some heavy ties to the Feywild as well, just because this is a very naturally beautiful place. The Kingswood especially, which is to the south, that's an old wood. It's a very old forest that stretches out for miles and miles. And I think Azara would know that that's the kind of place where the Feywild and the material plane cross over. And so, lots of ambient magic around here. I think Azara might be aware that this is the kind of village where people end up making deals with Archfey without realizing it.
Okay.
And so, yeah, there's things like, you know, accidental warlocks come out of villages like this, where some young kid makes a deal and doesn't realize what they've done, and they end up having to do stuff for Fae.
Then knowing that, I think that because back in her old kingdom, Azara would take nightly walks to just kind of attune herself to every surrounding to make sure that if anything feels out of place, she would know. So she would go introduce herself to the general store owner, kind of take stock of the farms, take stock of the wood, just kind of soak in her kingdom, and then head back to the keep. And she'll do that every night if she can.
Whenever you've got free time to basically do that. Cool. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Anything else from anybody else, or do we want to kind of speed up and get some sleeps and some time to pass?
Yeah. Also, I apologize. I'm so scratchy. I have bug bites all over me, you guys. I am covered in them.
I think the only thing that Tarkhal would want to do is just write up that letter to his father and then have it sent out.
You can give that to Nigel or Dusk. They'll both take that and send it on with a messenger.
Oh yeah, I would also write up that letter to Arabell, or to whichever kingdom I'm sending it to.
It would be to well, you probably wouldn't send it directly to the Duchess. You would address it to like her court, and then you would send it to the city basically.
Right.
But yeah, you guys can do that. For Mica, that one I'll just flag as you're requesting aid with this. John, if you want to basically write me up, this doesn't have to be a full letter, but like bullet points of things either you want to know about or things that you're saying to your father, and then I can think about what their response would be. Just send that to me in between the games, basically.
Sounds good. Yeah.
The only thing is, Tarkhal, when you go to sleep, you begin to dream. The dream, you realize that you're in an old trail, an old hunting trail that you and your father used to go down. Follows along the river, good deer, occasional boar, a good place to hunt for meat that will last you for a while. It's quiet. The birds occasionally chirp, and you feel that sense of an ancient wonder that you always got growing up in the Kingswood. Brings back memories of hunting with your father, the smell of oiled leathers and freshly trodden leaves and dirt. And as you are making your way through the woods, you begin to hear a woman singing, and it's an old song in a language you don't speak, but it is enchanting. And as you begin making the trail, you find yourself making your way towards this song. And eventually you emerge into a large glade, trees around it, and at the center, in a field of flowers, sat on a curved, broken tree that's been struck by lightning, you can see this woman, a woman in a green dress with black hair and green eyes. And she turns and looks in your direction. The young man, the young promising noble. I've watched you for a long time, you know. And she just smiles. Come, I'm not going to hurt you, don't worry.
My dream self would probably approach if I'm enchanted by this song. Yeah.
Well, it's you know, it's not an enchantment. It's just it was a very pleasant song, and now that you find yourself in this glade, you feel more in control. You feel more like you can decide things. You don't know that you're dreaming, but you think you are.
Okay.
You're kind of in this weird state of you're pretty sure you're asleep, but it doesn't feel like a dream.
Okay, yeah, then Tarkhal would approach.
Oh. You've grown up to be quite a handsome young man, I think. I used to watch you and your father hunting these trails when you were younger.
Why were you watching me? Why were you watching us?
I wasn't watching just you. I watch everyone in these woods. These woods are my home. I look after the people that live here.
Do I recognize this woman?
No.
No. Okay.
Never seen. Well, you have seen this woman before when you were fighting against her.
Yeah. So I recognize that it's her.
Yeah, 100% her. flawless kind of like porcelain skin, long black hair, green robe. Does look a little bit elven in a sense, but she's not an elf or a half elf, but there's elements of angular features to her. No, you're one of my people, one of the people that live amongst the trees, one of the people that understand the needs of the earth.
So why were you using that band of brigands to torment the people of Eveningstar?
Gaius, well, I didn't want him to torment the people of Eveningstar. Gaius lived in the woods as well, like you. Not your woods, not near you, further away. He was the half-brother of the Lord of Eveningstar. He was exiled a long time ago, and he's always been bitter about it. And I came to realize that there is a problem in Cormyr. There's a sickness. I thought Gaius could be a solution, but he was reckless, violent, as you've seen. I was mistaken to entrust him with power. But you, Tarkhal, you've grown into a fine young man, confident, inspiring, and skilled. If you ever want my help, I am here. You are one of my people, and I will gladly give you my aid if you need it.
What is this sickness?
A sickness that plagues many mortal minds, many elves and humans and dwarves. They live on a land that is not theirs. They build castles where there were once forests. They stop waterfalls to build their dams. They love gold, they steal, and they kill, and they drench the ground with blood. There's a corruption, pure and simple, greed, avarice, hatred, jealousy. I thought Gaius could be better, but I was wrong. I want to make Cormyr better. I want to fix it, heal it.
And how to what end? How would you intend this sickness to be cured?
Well, perhaps by finding someone who can guide it. I think that for too long, these dragon slayers, these knights, these nobles have ruled over a land without fully understanding what it is. Perhaps it just needs... Perhaps best to think of it as a garden full of weeds that have overgrown. It needs a gardener, Tarkhal. That's what I am, a gardener. Still, I won't keep you from sleep. And she begins making her way towards you. And you can see that wherever she touches, the plants begin to grow and kind of explode into color as she makes her way over to you. And she just whispers in your ear, I will keep watching. Just ask if you need my help. And then she walks past you.
Spooky.
Yeah, and then you kind of feel your kind of self get hazy. The glade begins to swirl, and you fall into a kind of dreamless sleep as you finish the long rest.
Oh, okay.
Right. Unless there is anything important you wish to do, the next couple of days go by without any major incident. You don't get returns of letters just yet. Go, Mica. You are muted, my dear.
Did I ever get the return of my first letter that I sent to Demolin?
You did. So that would arrive. The letter response from Demolin would arrive probably on sort of like the third or fourth day. So yeah, that one does arrive. If there's anything that anybody else would like to do in a couple of days, otherwise, it is slow living. Repairs are being done. People are working on all these projects. Library is, they're drafting plans to build a library. The keep is being slowly repaired. The village is getting back into its incidents. But on the afternoon of the third day.
Wait.
Go on.
During those 3 days, I would ask our housekeeper to find someone who we could hire in as a cat cleaner with prestidigitation and just like happen to be like and clean him off.
I think that Audrey, I guess, yeah, you could probably find like an elf or a gnome who would be able to do that. She will tell you that, yeah, I'll begin looking as quickly as I can, my dear, because having that foul-smelling beastie running around is doing me no favors either. So I'll get right on that, my lady.
We just need a groomer, you know, every couple months or so.
Indeed, yes, and maybe somebody that can knock him out before they do it, because he is a vicious wee bugger.
But not violently. It would be best if he didn't know.
Just magically put him to sleep.
Maybe just
not permanently, just temporarily.
Just a little nap.
Just a little nap. And then we clean him up and we get him all nice and shiny, and then he doesn't stink out the kitchen. Lovely. I love it.
The difference.
Perfect. Yeah, she'll happily do that for you. Anything else from anything else just before we move on? Because I just don't, if you guys want to do stuff, just say, but otherwise nothing interesting will happen for sort of 2-3 days.
What's in the village as far as weaponry goes?
In terms of what you have, so the equipment reclaimed from the bandits, a lot of it was mangled, and it's being used by the troops. Your unit of troops that you have are light troops, which means that they have light armor, basic spears, bows, nothing really heavily equipment-wise. They don't have big armor, big weapons or anything like that. You don't have any cavalry, you don't have stables or anything like that, or siege weaponry. In terms of personal arms, there is a general store that sells things like a good hunting knives and hunting bows. It sells a few kind of old worn swords and battle axes, but nothing special. There's no blacksmith, for example, in town.
Gotcha.
No weaponsmith.
That's what I was going to ask about. Okay.
Yeah, you could get one built.
We could.
Tempting face. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. A blacksmith is 100% a commodity that you could have built. You could just speak to Dusk about it, and then once a smithy is built, you'd be able to hire a blacksmith. Blacksmith would basically be able to reduce the upkeep and the upgrade costs for units, so they'll help basically fashion arms and armor for your units. They'll also be able to make you guys any basic weapons for free. So if you were like, I would like a sword, please, blacksmith, they'll just make you a sword. It won't be magical, but it would be, a very fine craftsmanship. And then if you wanted to, you could probably bring them magical ingredients. So let's say you find a unique item. Let's say you find, I don't know, wyvern's hide. You could take that to an armor smith and be like, hello, armor smith, make me magic armor, please. And then you could provide them with cool stuff and they would make that into cool items.
Cool. I'd like to maybe have a little meet about it with Agnis, Tarkhal, and Dusk.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Dusk will literally gather everybody and kind of say, well, my lord, my lady, Minister Marcel has made a request and it does need your approval for the budget. I have currently lost my ledger with all of the numbers in it, but I believe that we have at least sort of 1,300 gold currently in the treasury, at least.
800 of which is earmarked for the inn.
That would make things so. A blacksmith or a smithy will cost us around 500 gold to build, but we would be able to hire a blacksmith and they would use that as their hiring fee. It will take us maybe a month, 2 months to build and hire an appropriate blacksmith, but it's something that we can easily fit into. I know the right people for this job. Easy.
So if we built the blacksmith and the inn, we would have no money left in the royal treasury.
There would be nothing immediate until taxation season, and then that should hopefully replenish our coffers a little.
Is Azara here too?
I can have Magister Azara fetched if you wish.
She should absolutely be here.
Very well. Azara is now present at this meeting.
We are discussing the request by Minister Marcel to build a blacksmith, which will cost us 500 gold from the royal treasury, which combined with the 800 we have earmarked for the inn would drain our treasury until tax season, and I am curious your thoughts. I do know we have plans to lessen the amount that we owe for the inn by finding local help, but...
Yes, that was going to be my point. I personally think that we should wait to make any large money-making decisions until we hear back from my contacts in other kingdoms. Either way, I think that a blacksmith would be apt for our kingdom. Not only would it provide weaponry for Marcel's troops, but if Tarkhal ever needs new swords or daggers, or we ever happen to need plate armor, it would be helpful. And with the money that the blacksmith would bring in, providing weaponry and farming tools to the locals here, we would make that money back in a few seasons. I see no reason not to have a blacksmith around. However, we should just...
A blacksmith would generate a small amount of income as well for each season, much like other businesses. Not much, because most of their trade is with locals, but it would be some. As you guys are having this discussion, there comes a messenger comes running into the keep bailey, kind of out of breath. The soldier, a young woman, kind of is like, "Excuse me, my lords and ladies. Seneschal Dusk, a messenger has arrived from Arabell to speak with Baron and Baroness Crownsilver. He's a bit of an odd fellow, but he says he's here on behalf of the Duchess. I thought I should inform you immediately." "Oh, thank you very much, soldier. Are you ready to receive a guest, lord and lady? Shall I have them wait for a moment, or would you like to speak with them immediately? I can have them wait whilst you prepare yourselves if you wish."
This seems urgent. Marcel, do you mind putting this on hold for a moment?
Fair enough.
Show them in.
Very well. After a few moments, Dusk disappears along with his soldier. A few moments later, the doors are opened very dramatically. And as they are, streams of colored light, a few flying doves flaps through the air, and a very elaborately dressed, with a half cape over one shoulder, a coiffed blonde, almost golden in color hair swooped down their back. A man enters, a big golden mustache twirled around at least 3 times, enters and bows incredibly low. "My lords and ladies, my name is Sebastian Velen de Bouz, and I am here on behalf of the Duchess of Arabell, Duchess of Arabell herself. May I please present myself to the lovely Baron and Baroness?"
You may.
Oh, and he bows very deeply.
I'm trying to remember our connection to the Duchess of Arabell.
Not one, not a strong one, really.
Okay.
You've met your Queen Raedra was the one who put you here. The Duchess of Arabell, you would know her by name. Her name is Celeste Marlier. She basically runs the city. Arabell is one of the biggest cities in Cormyr. It's second to Suzail in terms of size. It's about a day and a half, 2 days travel from here. And Eveningstar would normally fall under her lands, but Eveningstar has been given independent rule to you guys. So this would possibly be somebody who, I don't know, maybe she's a bit annoyed that she doesn't own this land and can't taxate it and rule over it. Maybe she's relieved that she doesn't have to deal with it. You don't really know. You've not met her. She's tends to be very shrewd. She's an older woman, but yeah, tends to know her stuff about politics. This man, Sebastian, bows down low. He's just like, "Well, I do not wish to waste any of my good lords and ladies' time, so allow me to present a message from the Duchess herself." And he looks up expectantly, as in he's trying to gauge your reactions to him.
Agnes raises her eyebrows.
Yes. He looks around at the keep. "Allow me." He pulls out a long scroll, unfolds it. "Her Grace Duchess Celeste Marlier of Arabell wishes to convey to you, Baron and Baroness Crownsilver, along with your esteemed advisors, Magister Mithras and Minister Marcel, her utmost congratulations and thanks for removing the thorn that plagued the High Road and Eveningstar." Whilst Eveningstar is an independent land, its proximity to Arabell and her Grace's lands means that she wishes to assure you that her caring and protective wing is cast over it, and she sees you as starlings to be nurtured. As a token of thanks and to celebrate your victory, her Grace shall host a formal ball and tournament at the height of the season, and she extends an invitation as guests of honor to all 4 of you and your aides and attendants. The tournament shall take place over 3 days, and each evening will be full of feasting, dancing, and celebrations to Cormier's bright young nobility. I thank you. And he bows. There is also a sound of an applause, a magical applause as he bows.
I'm not much for balls, but it would be well advised to create connections with our neighboring kingdom. What do you all think?
Azara immediately steps in and is like, Lady Crownsilver, I think it would be best if we would be humbled and graciously honored to accept such a regal, beautiful, and detailed invitation from such a regal and distinguished young man as yourself, seeing as this is our closest sister kingdom who has done such great work for neighboring kingdoms. And she just goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Really
Agnis
trying to
just rolls her eyes.
Yeah.
Sebastian responds with a, Magister Mithras, your grace and your wisdom is only matched by your beauty. I cannot thank you for your kind words enough. And please,
says, oh.
I assure you, good Lady Baroness Crownsilver, you may not be interested in balls, but that is because you have not attended an Arabell Duchess's ball. It is most fabulous, but there is great food, there is dancing, good wine, and plenty of wonderful company. And I see that at least some of you here are practiced wizards or mages and swordsmen and warriors. Well, a tournament is quite the place to set yourselves up as noted individuals in the kingdom, perhaps. There will be many knights and nobles competing, other mages and war wizards. What a place to make a name for yourself. Then a tourney.
I want to, on the down low, message Agnis and be like, just humor him. We need this for our kingdom.
Agnis is just like letting Azara handle it, but whenever he's not looking at her and Agnis is like, oh, lovely ball, Agnis is like,
What say you, Baron Crownsilver?
When is this ball?
This would be at the height of the season, my lord, a few 10 days away. You will have time to practice, get yourself ready, perhaps, learn some dancing moves. I can teach you if you.
Does Malia not know that we just got to Eveningstar to whisk us away for a 3-day ball? Does she not think that makes very little sense?
I also message Tarkhal and I'm like, stop, humor him. We need this.
Tarkhal there's a bug in his ear. He's like,
my lord Crownsilver, of course, the Duchess understands that you have only just arrived, that you are busy, that you have things that you must do. But also, you have achieved so much. You have driven out these bandits and these thugs. The people of Arabell, my, what a story for them to hear. Would it not draw those who perhaps seek a new life outside the city's walls to your little village, if they heard of such tales from the people themselves? And of course, behind the back, the Duchess is aware that you have only arrived, but think, the Duchess is a powerful woman, my lord. She could perhaps help you in some of your efforts. Building of infrastructure, carpenters, blacksmiths, masons, brewers. What do you need? Here, the Duchess could provide it all. Let me know. I'm happy to help.
Tarkhal, can't shake the image of the Emerald Witch that was in the glade. And, that's what he's, actually almost sick. Because he doesn't I don't know, he doesn't trust the witch, but he sees what she's speaking of just in this man.
And seeing him kind of back off there, and that Agnis has kind of let me take the reins. I'll be like, and seeing as we just sent off a letter asking for the Duchess's kind help in aiding our town in rebuilding this inn, which is so meaningful to our dear citizens of Eveningstar, we will be delighted to make an appearance for all 3 days, and maybe even our minister Marcel can compete in one of our nightly competitions. And I know I will be honored to compete in your mage competitions and show off what little war magic I do know. Maybe I could recruit a few new mages who can come join us in our little kingdom here. And just humoring him, but also realizing this is just bullshit.
He turns it up to 11. He like quaffs his hair and Magister Mithras, of course, you would to grace us with your presence would be marvelous. And what fortunate timing that you have requested help. It seems such an easy match. But Minister Marcel, if I'm to be led correctly, you are a considerable combatant, are you not? You are a skilled fighter. I believe that you have some connections with a few mercenary companies, if my information about you is correct, of course. Well, your silence speaks only more to your mystery, Minister Marcel. A mysterious fellow such as yourself. I should perhaps inform you that there is a grand prize for the tournament, of course. A substantial amount of gold, a magical relic, a favor presented by the Duchess herself. Perhaps that may interest you.
We'd be delighted to be there.
Yes. I cannot wait to see you in action. Well, if could perhaps I beg of the Baron and Baroness a room to stay for the evening? It is such a long travel to Arabell, and I would love to rest and get my strength back.
Perhaps if you held on to one of those doves, it could have flown you home.
What a joker you are, Minister Marcel.
I lean down to Agnis
They'll
and I'm like,
you.
We can put him into the manor house in one of the smaller guest rooms.
My thoughts exactly. Of course, we'd be honored to offer you a room in our manor in town. It's much more comfortable than this drafty keep.
Marvelous. Yes, I would be honored to accept.
Now, I don't think that will do. Perhaps we can allow him to stay in our North Guard Tower that oversees Eveningstar. It's a wonderful view.
My thoughts exactly.
You have a room in your guard tower. Yes, being closer to the keep would be rather. It is. Obviously, you've just arrived. I'm guessing you've not had time to spruce the place up yet. But,
there's a guest in there that will stay with you, a trustworthy companion of sorts.
Yes, it is more than up to code for you.
Oh, well, thank you, Minister. Thank you, Baron. I would be delighted to stay. Perhaps there is a place where one could acquire a good glass of wine, if anyone would be able to provide.
Well, the tavern is under reconstruction, and
so here, perhaps we could have a lovely drink all together in your dining chamber. I'm sure you have.
I'm so tired. I apologize, but I just must retire tonight. But I'm sure that Azara would love to entertain you.
Yes, I know a thing or two about magic myself, and this is like a minor illusion of like a dragon appears.
Sir, esteemed guest, if you wouldn't mind waiting in whether you would like to stay in the manor house or the guard tower, you take your pick, and I will join you after counseling with my fellow lords and ladies and minister here just for the night. Once I wrap up work, we will have a lovely conversation. So how about you go ahead and I will meet you there.
I shall await you indeed, Master. And he bows. And then to a music fanfare, he leaves as magical fanfare erupts behind him.
The second he leaves, I'm going to turn to the royals and very sternly but kindly be like, listen, he's disgusting. I understand this. This is horrible. I understand this. However, if you do not want to have your throats slit in the middle of the night, you must make nice with these assholes. You just have to. It's disgusting. It's horrible. It turns your stomach, and I don't care that you don't care, but we have to care if you want Cormier to go anywhere, be anything. Do you want your parents to be proud of you? Do you want to actually do something with your lives? Then you have to play the game for at least 5 minutes. And Tarkhal, do not give me that look. I can see that you are stewing over something. Buck up, you are a baron. And then she's gonna storm the fuck off.
Ooh.
She leaves before Agnis can this time.
Exactly.
Agnis, I take problem with her.
Leave it to the ward wizard to be just another pawn.
Are you all right, Tarkhal?
No, I'm not all right. First of all, if he stays in our manor, someone must go and let the innkeeper know that she will have a guest. We're going to send that vile man to stay with a member of Eveningstar that we gave our home to. No, he will stay in the tower, and that will be that. If we were given this position of nobility, why the kickback? I was not asking for advice on magic. I was not asking advice on things that Azara is capable and way more knowledgeable of. But for matters of the citizens and of the people and of this keep, I think you and I are the ones that we refer to. Now, I'm trying to learn from you. Am I wrong? Should we send that vile man off to be with the woman we just helped?
Agnes is like, the corner of her mouth is tugging up into a smile, and she's like, I love to see this passion in you, brother. If you feel this in your heart and you know it's right, you should make it so.
And it shall be, and I will not be at this ball. This is outrageous. This is nothing but a waste. If all the resources that were used for that ball were instead put into Eveningstar, perhaps we would be on a better way.
Do you not agree that if we go to the ball, we might have a better chance of getting said resources?
I think we would gain something, but I fear we might lose something as well.
And what's that?
The chance to be change. I don't know. I feel like we will be lost in this avarice and this greed. I don't mind if you go and you do what you have to do, and Marcel wins the tournament and gets that money for Eveningstar for himself, whatever. At this point, it doesn't matter. But something is sick.
What has turned your stomach so much about this man? He's certainly a showboater, and his hair is atrocious. But what is it about him that makes you think he goes from distasteful to, it sounds like, evil?
Am I the only one with this taste in my mouth from him being in the room?
No, I've never wanted to be around someone less in the past 10 years.
So I'm not crazy. I'm not alone. This is there's something wrong with how the expectancy of nobility. This is not what I expected. I expected to at the very least be able to make my own decisions when I agreed to come and lead Eveningstar.
Well,
Lord.
is Dusk still there?
Well, Dusk is your seneschal. He's generally around, like, whenever these kind of meetings. He's not saying anything. He just lingers in the back, but he is generally around. Like, and he doesn't interject unless there's something here. May I speak? May I just perhaps offer you a bit of insight that you are more than welcome to ignore. It is merely a man who has been playing this game for a long time.
Yes, please do, Dusk.
Like Lady Baroness has said, you are very passionate, and I think that is important. And I can see in all of your hearts that you truly want what's best for the people of Eveningstar and the people of Cormyr. I also understand where Lady Azara comes from. I know this game. Perhaps her comments of getting our throats slit is a little exaggerated, though not entirely. There are those who will go to any lengths to see their things happen. But if I may be frank, I am a man who cannot make a change in Cormyr. I can do what I can to help you, to help other nobles, but I cannot change anything myself. You can. Both of you can. And I think that you're strong-willed enough that you won't lose that sight of that. The Duchess Marlier is shrewd. She's not like that man that she sent to speak to us. I suspect she sent that man specifically to try and gauge what kind of nobles you are, to see how you'll treat him. And then he'll go back, tell her what's happened, and then she'll have an idea of you. She's a smart woman. She knows how to run her city, and she runs it well. The people there are generally well looked after. There are some problems with the merchants and gold and greed, but she's a smart woman, and I suspect that this is all part of learning who you are more than anything else. So, if you do not wish to go, don't go. But see it as an opportunity as well. This is your chance to make some of these changes, to understand your enemy, perhaps. You're a hunter, Tarkhal. You understand that to be able to hunt a deer, you must first understand the deer's environment, where it feeds, where it drinks. Think of it in that way, perhaps. I will say no more. It is not my place, but trust an old tiefling who's been around these places for a long time. There'll be more to this than just that man and his funny hair, I assure you.
Tarkhal will let out like a sort of sigh. Thank you, Dusk. I think I've just been having some rough sleep. I'm sorry, Agnis. I'm sorry, Marcel. I'm sorry if I overreacted. So we should not treat this man with ill will. Perhaps we shouldn't send him to sleep with King One Eye if he's going to report back to Moliere.
Well,
I think that perhaps again, that would say a lot about who you are, and I can't infer exactly how the Duchess will take it, but I think it sends a statement.
Tarkhal, I lived in the rotting structure of the nobility for a long time, and my biggest weakness is to not see that rot when it's underneath me because I'm so used to it. So I trust you if you really think that this is one of those times. But she is our neighbor. And if she wants to borrow a cup of sugar sometime, we should know her name.
No, you're right. You're right. So perhaps we can bring him to the manor and let our citizen know that there'll be another room taken up, and just tell her to stay inside of her room and lock her door and take some medicine or something for her head. Oh, I need to sleep.
Anything from Marcel?
Are you going to compete in the tournament, Marcel?
Well, coin is coin. And what better way to take coin from nobles than to possibly kill those who are part of it?
I don't think it's that kind of tournament.
We shall see.
We shall see. I think, Marcel, you would also probably hear in your head the sword. Perhaps in Arabell, we might be able to find somebody who knows more about what happened. Find somebody who knows something about me, maybe? How to deal with this?
There's a good chance, yes.
Azara, have you gone to your tower room when you stormed off?
Yes.
I think, shortly after you kind of make your way in, slamming the door behind you kind of thing, a few moments later, you do hear a kind of gentle knock, and Alyssa's voice kind of comes through. Magister Azara, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Do you need something?
Only to check on you, Magister. I heard that commotion, and I don't need to look after the Baron and Baroness right now, and if you do need someone to speak with, I am here if you would like someone to talk to. Or I am happy to leave you alone if that's what you require. I understand the need for space sometimes.
After a few minutes, I'll open the door and just kind of sit on the other side, but leaving a clear chair for her.
Yeah, she stood there. She kind of steps in very formally and regally as a knight does, and she just nods and takes a seat, and just kind of gives you a moment if you want to speak first. If not, she'll speak up.
Do you understand war, Alyssa? Of course you do. What am I saying?
I haven't been to war yet, I must admit. I've trained for it. I've learned a lot about it, but I've never been in full war. Battles, but not war.
But you understand the risk. You understand what happens in war.
I do.
I lost my mother to war.
I heard.
I've seen what happens when you're not prepared. I've seen what happens when you're too soft. I've seen what happens when you're too hard. I've been through too much. And I thought coming here would be different. I thought coming here, aiding new nobles, people who aren't blinded by greed or hate or selfishness. It's a new start. I believe in what Lady Crownsilver says, saying that nobility can be different. That's all I want. All I want is nobility to be different. Gods know all I want is nobility to be different, but we can't be stupid either. And I'm frustrated because all I am to them is some elf in a dress who knows magic. And
if I may be honest, Magister, I think that to some of them you are more than that. But they are new. Lord Crownsilver especially, he is not of noble birth. He has come from a different place. He does not know the game as you and I know it. Lady Crownsilver, well, soldiers talk. Lady Crownsilver is a rebellious young woman, but she has also grown up in the finery of a noble house. And I perhaps think that her view on things is a little naive at times. She has not lived a hard life up until now. And even now, she's still a noble. I was not. My parents are merchants. I made my way to captain through a lot of hard work and a lot of politics. So I understand. But I also know that if we keep playing the game, we never change it. If we just keep playing into their hands, if we just keep doing the things that we've always seen and we know, we're just going to keep that game going. Sometimes in a battle, when you're fighting, if the opponent knows your moves and you know their moves too well, it becomes a stalemate. You need something to change the status quo, something to shake things up, something that they don't expect. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
And I agree.
I think that they are people that nobody will expect.
I agree with you. And, not but, and when you're fighting, if you have one arm and no legs and they have 8 arms, you're at a disadvantage. You can't change the game until you play the game. And I wish they could just understand that. I don't want the game to go on. I've fled from corrupt nobility. I don't want corrupt nobility, but I want the power to be able to change that. And if we don't have the power, we'll just be crushed and all of this will be for nothing. And what's the point? Why am I risking my life if they're not going to try to change anything?
She kind of just nods and like puts like a gauntleted fist on sort of your shoulders, like, give them time. They'll learn the game, whether they like it or not. And if they're at a disadvantage, well, you and I have to make it up for them. And there are ways you can do things, Magister. Forgive me for saying this. It's a lesson I learned as a recruit, but your commanding officers don't always need to know what you're up to. And I'm here if you need help. And she stands up and bows her head. I heard stories of your mother, and to know that I was assigned to the same task as you is an incredible honor. And she just bows her head.
Azara gives like the first genuine smile she has in like 3 weeks and just like pats Alyssa on the shoulder. Yeah. You are welcome to my tower anytime. Thank you.
It is a very good distraction from the barracks.
Well,
and she just nods.
I will keep a second cup for tea for you every night if you'd like to join me.
Thank you, Magister. And she leaves. And unless there is anything from the other 3, shall we end it there? As I believe
that was a killer scene to stop on. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
I
good.
think all of that. I think like, God, I mean, let's just as a bit of a wrap up, because I always do like doing a bit like, John, like Shady, man, that
seriously,
terrain, fucking yes, I loved it.
You set it up. You made the scene. It's perfect.
That's what it's all about, man. Like, and well, it's also just going with certain things. Like you took that little dream sequence and were like, cool, this is a really cool thing that I'm going to latch on and run with. And then having, because it created this really like conflict between Azara and Tarkhal, but then also a bonding moment with Agnis and Tarkhal and Marcel. Finally, Marcel has something that he can like be like, yes, with everyone. Yeah, no, it's great.
That's what I was going to say. My two favorite quotes from tonight was when when the innkeeper said, when people get in the cups. I've never heard get in the cups before. That's amazing. And then Marcel just going, coin is coin. I'm like, that's on a t-shirt right now. Coin is coin.
It's so Witcher. I love it. Coin is coin. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. What about anybody else? Any other like bits you guys want to sort of like debrief? We've got like a few minutes.
I mean, we got our Tressum.
You got your Tressum.
I just want to make sure that we have time to discuss the letter that I got back because it's super important.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want to do that? Like, do you want to do that in character, or do you want to save that for the first thing next week?
We can save it for the first thing next week, I guess.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like drastically going to change things. So
I think that basically
I want to talk about it.
We'll start next week with that letter arriving, Azara reading it, and then you can present that information to the others, basically. I think, should we do that and then start that? Yeah. And then we'll do like a big time jump as well to kind of get us to this ball and stuff like that and get some of these cool things that you guys have bought. So we'll probably have like the library and things like the inn and stuff get repaired. So we guys can set that up. Is that cool?
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dude,
let's do shout outs.
That all the characters are just like getting more and more fleshed out, and I think all y'all are such good role players that now I'm like excited for what your characters are gonna do because I'm starting to know them better. It's so fun.
I love it so much. Seeing you guys like really throw into the role play is my favorite thing in the world. And then I love having the NPCs relate to that as well. I can't wait for that stuff to get deeper.
Alyssa's my new best friend.
Yeah, man. Well, again, I think you two both come from a very similar sort of mindset, so it makes sense that she would kind of reach out to you with her frustrations with Marcel and the Crownsilvers. So yeah, so cool. Right, let's do some shout outs. Let's start with Mr. Nate Sharp because he's super quick normally.
Hi. I don't know. I have a new album coming out late October. Pre-orders are open now. So if that's something you might be into, head to NateWantsToBattle.com and pre-order it.
I pre-ordered it.
Oh, thanks. Oh my God.
What's the name of the album?
Album is called What You Want.
What You Want. There you go. Pre-order What You Want now.
Yep.
Do it now.
I mean, that sentence says it all. Pre-order what you want.
Yeah, pre-order what you want. Which happens to be the album called What You Want.
Yeah.
Do it. Now, I'm going to throw it over to Mica.
Oh, God, I was reading. Hi, I'm Mica. I don't have an album coming out. I don't have anything coming out. Well, follow me at Mica Burton on Twitter and Instagram, and at Reenie's Wild Shape is my dog's Instagram, and I post pictures. I don't know if you can see it, but she's right there. Oh, you probably can't, but she's on the floor next to me taking a nap. And I have a cute dog. I have some things that I've done that I can't talk about yet, but keep your eye. Oh my God, in a week I can talk about it. So be prepared.
Be prepared.
That's exciting.
That was immediately
Anna,
what my brain did too.
Who's above me?
I am Anna, and I also don't have an album coming out. And I also have a cute dog who has an Instagram who has just celebrated 1 year of her no-nose surgery that saved her from cancer. So that's on her Instagram right now.
Big poggers.
I know. I posted her post-surgery pictures for the first time in a post the other day, and like the evolution of how she came back from it and how she's happy now. And so that was really fun. But if you want to follow me at Anna Prosser everywhere, and I usually post when I stream. Right now I have shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thursdays when I role play Star Wars, and I'll let you know any other stuff on social media. And I tag Mark.
Hey. Thank you. I don't have an album coming out that you can pre-order. I don't have a dog's Instagram. But you can watch me DM more D&D on my show. It's called High Rollers D&D. We stream on Sundays and Thursdays. It's been a little bit disrupted recently. We've just been having a lot going on. I don't think we're streaming this Sunday, but we should be streaming Curse of Strahd on Thursday, and then we'll be back to normal hopefully next week. But that's my normal D&D show. You can come and check that out. You can also follow me on Twitter. It's at Sherlock_Hulmes, and I post anything of relevance that I'm doing. Right now, if you've never seen it before, you can go and see me dressed up as Bowsette or Renoa from Final Fantasy VIII on my Twitter. How about that? That's an exciting thing you can do. And I will throw it to my good boy, ShadyPenguinn.
Hi guys, I'm ShadyPenguinn. Thank you, Mark. I actually do have an album coming out, 2024. You cannot pre-order it. It will be exactly 2 tracks of me snoring, and then the next track is me clapping. So very high quality.
Do it now.
I love it.
2024, it's happening.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have a special guest. Looks around the room.
A guest clapper.
Clap along with me.
Yeah.
Also, my hair is in a top knot because it's too long for me to care about anymore. And I do not take this as financial advice. My portfolio is up 4%. Everyone can type POG. Follow me on Instagram if you want to know more about how much investing I'm doing. And that is going to be it for me. Back to Mark to do the closing.
I guess that's it. So that's it from us. We will see you all next week, I believe, for more Knights of Eveningstar. Till then, take care, look after yourselves, love each other, and just be good peeps. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Bye.